Hello, faithful friends of the internet. Welcome to my chair. This is it. We're sitting in the chair now. In the chair. Listen, there's something that I've been thinking about recently because I've been redoing my YouTube studio, and I'm not putting out a lot of YouTube-y content, like how I create YouTube videos and stuff. I used to do more of that. And I try to stay away from it because I want to keep the main thing, but at the same time, I also know that this can be really, really helpful, and nothing would make me happier. I would trade a lot of what I'm doing right now if I could mobilize lots of people on YouTube to start really getting the gospel in people's hands, or resourcing the church, resourcing the believer. I would love to see that happen. That is something that I've got my brain on. It's not my primary focus right now, but my brain is really on how can we get some people mobilized on this platform to make an impact. That being said, I wanted to talk to you for a couple of minutes today about what I would do equipment-wise if I was starting today. If I was starting today, what would I do in terms of equipment? And so I pulled up a bunch of equipment here on my computer. I'm gonna walk you through what I have here and the stuff that I would get into. I just wanna let you know this is not something that you would have to do necessarily overnight, but this is something you would build over time. To be clear, and there's probably a couple of little, odds and ends that aren't in here that you would still need. This comes out to be about $4,200 worth of gear. That's a lot less than what I have in my room. So we're working with a lot more than $4,200. But here's some good news. You could start today with your phone. You could start today with your phone. As a matter of fact, if you want to start a YouTube channel, I would really encourage you to record and edit 10 videos that are just killer with your phone. Do it with your phone before you spend any money on camera equipment. Now, what I don't have included in here is a computer, which I'm assuming that you have, but you could edit these videos on an iPad, you could edit it on a phone, but the easiest way is to do it on a computer. I personally use Final Cut Pro. A lot of my friends like Joshua Verwers and Trey Van Camp, they use Premiere. This is America, and they have the right to be wrong. I'm just kidding. I use Premiere sometimes, when I'm feeling like getting jiggy with it. But what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the equipment that I would buy if I was starting today. So number one is the Sony Alpha A6600 mirrorless digital camera body with accessories kit. The accessories kit is really neither here nor there, and we're going to ignore it. I would start with the A6600. The main reason is the flip screen. I'm shooting on a Sony a7 III right now, and I've got I think it's a $700 monitor on top of it that's also a recorder. That way I can film this in 4K with the face tracking on and see myself. It's a lot to get that one feature that I'm having to pay for additionally because the screen doesn't flip up on this camera. Well, on the A6600, the screen flips up. As a matter of fact, there's three cameras. There's the A6600, which is the one I'm recommending. There's the A6400 and the A6100. I would not get the A6100 under any circumstances. You only save about $150, I think, over the A6400, and $150 is not worth not getting the better camera. The margins are too close. That being said, is there a situation where I would encourage the A6400? There actually is. Now, the A64 and the A6500, basically the same camera with two main feature differences that really matter. Those two features are in-body stabilization, meaning that if you take the A6600 and you move it, it's going to look smoother than the A6400. The second feature is the battery. The A6600 uses Sony's new batteries. And I'm telling you, the old style Sony battery versus the new style Sony battery, it's a big deal. So if you're going to be out and using your camera outside, on the go, in the studio, in multiple scenarios, if it's going to go with you and stay in the studio, I would get the 6600 because the battery is so good. However, if you're going to lock your camera down and you're not going to use it for anything else but being in the studio, get the 6400. You're going to save a few $100. As a matter of fact, the 6600 is $1,200. The The 6400 is $1,000. And one of the nice features with the 6400, for $100, you can buy a Sony built, Sony manufactured battery DC power or AC power that you can put up in your, it's like a fake battery that plugs into the wall. And trust me, it's much better than powering it through the USB cable that comes with it, which is a little finicky in terms of it actually staying in. So I would definitely encourage, if you're in the studio, just get the 6400. It's going to be locked down on a tripod, never going to be moving it. That's perfect. Number two, when you get the 6600, get an extra battery. Even though the battery life is incredible, you always want a backup battery just in case. But the batteries on these are so good, I rarely travel with a charger. And I'm using the A7 III, not the 6600. The 6600, in my mind, ought to do better on battery life than the A7 III because it's not quite as powerful. So maybe that's just me daydreaming, but in my mind, that's the way it is. Then you're going to need a memory card. I love this SanDisk 5200 gigabyte. I have a 256 gigabyte, but if you're going to have one camera with one card, get one that's big. You could probably edit off of this SD card right here. So that'd be big enough to take care of you. Then the Sony E10-18 f4. Listen, this lens is phenomenal. Anytime I'm vlogging, I'm using this lens, even on my A7 III, even though it's a crop lens. So the A66 and the A6400 are a crop sensor camera, and the Sony A7 III is a full frame sensor camera, meaning that this camera can give you a little bit better image, but this is a crop lens. It's designed for those. They're called APC cameras. It's great. But I even use it on this one because it's such a good vlogging lens. That 10, it's wide enough that you can catch everything. So that's what you need for vlogging. I would also encourage you to get a Sigma 16mm f1.4. I've had this lens as well. I sold it when I sold off my crop sensor camera, the A6500, which I would not recommend you getting. So I had the Sigma 16. It's a beautiful lens. The Sigma 16mm is going to be better in the studio. The 10-18 is going to be better when you vlog or on the move or outside and when you need to go and go fast. So if you're primarily going to be out filming and moving, get the Sony first. If you're going to be primarily in the studio shooting video, get the Sigma first. They both can work in both scenarios. The Sigma is going to give you a little bit more of that blurry background that people like in their videos. The Sony lens here, the 10-18, is going to be a little bit more image stabilized, meaning that there's not going to be a lot of shake when you use it, but also it's wide enough at that 10mm that you're going to be able to see really, really well. Next, I would get a Deity Microphones S-Mic 2 location kit. I use this currently in my studio. It's a fantastic microphone. It sounds really, really good. You're spinning a little bit, but audio is one of the most important things that you can do in your video to make it good. Audio in a lot of scenarios, or actually in all scenarios, audio is more important than the quality of video that you're shooting in. That being said, I need to give a caveat. I'm trying something with audio in this video that I've never really done before, and I got the idea from Trey Van Camp, and if it doesn't work, blame him. If it does work, I want all the credit. Next, the Sound Devices Mix Pre 3. I have been seeing reviews on this audio recorder. This is what you're going to use to record that audio from the microphone. It looks phenomenal. I'm thinking about changing out my recorder that I use. I use a Zoom H6. I think is what it's called, and I'm looking to change that out and go over to the Sound Devices Mix 3 Pre. It looks absolutely phenomenal. You can mount it under your camera, have a great view of your audio levels. If you're first person filming, some of this stuff is really important to be able to see yourself, see your audio levels. I currently can't monitor my audio levels visually when I'm filming, and I would really love to be able to do that. You'll need an SD card for that Sound Devices Mix 3 Pre. Then lighting. I really love the Godox SL60. As a matter of fact, I bought 2 of them last week. I've been using one in my studio for a long time, and I just put 2 in Ashley's studio We're actually using the lights completely differently. She's bouncing hers off the wall and it's lighting up her room because she has nice white walls but a tinier space. I use mine with a box it works really good. So I'm not putting in there the box. You have to figure out your scenario, how you want to use this. But I use a little like $30 Neewer soft box with the Bowens mount on it. It's absolutely fantastic. I would encourage you, if you get this, make sure you get a daylight balanced light, okay? It's going to look better. It's going to make the stuff behind you look the right color. If you get a tungsten one, your stuff's all gonna look funky. So get the daylight, trust me, you'll appreciate it. The Matthews C-stand, I would actually get 2 of these, and Neewer has a C-stand that works really great that you could get as well. The B-Score, I don't know how you say this, but the B-Score MP1E motorized pan head, listen, this is what this is. This is a thing that you can put on top of your tripod, sit your camera on it, and then use a remote to move your camera backwards and forwards, up and down, okay? This is all tilting, all right? And what it's great for is if you're a first-person shooter and you can get yourself just right in the frame, but there's just a little something that needs to tweak. It needs to go up a little bit, down a little bit. You take that remote and you just tweak it. It has made my filming so much faster. As a matter of fact, I don't have it on this rig, and this took so much longer to set up than my normal rig does, where I can just put it on, bam, 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 and I'm good to go. So this is a convenience item, but I think it can speed up your process so much that I consider it essential. The Vanguard Alta Pro 263AB, this tripod is what I'm filming on now. I have 2 of these. I absolutely love it. It's great as a tripod, but you can also use it to do overhead shots. Not quite as good as what you're seeing me do lately, but I've built out a whole rig to do that with 2x4s and what maybe I'll give you a tour of that one day. But you can take the tripod, you can pull the middle column out, move it over, do overhead shots. It's really great. I've used it in the past for overhead shots. It does fantastic. And then also you need to get the small rig right side shoe mount relocation plate for the Sony a6600. It has to be the right side because the left side is terrible. So you want to get the right side. And there's one thing in here that I did, but it didn't go into my shopping cart for some reason, and that is the Rode Video Micro. And that's the first microphone you should buy before you buy the expensive microphone. This thing is phenomenal. You could also get this extension cable with it and probably not have to get the more expensive microphone stuff for a while. The Rode Video Micro, I use this in the majority of videos that I started. You're gonna want it if you're gonna be vlogging or moving around. I have it. I think I have 4 of these. They're just that good. So the Rode Video Micro, you definitely want one of those. So if I was starting today, that is what I would be using. So it looks like something just happened. There was an error, but I'm still recording. Shows me errors. That's not a problem. But listen, if I was starting today, that's what I would be using. And it looks like after I made some of those changes, it actually comes out to be about $4,700. And I'm telling you, I even think today about selling off a bunch of my stuff and downsizing to this, because it's just this is a rock solid system that I just showed you. So, appreciate you watching the video. That's all I have for you. And so I'll see you in the next one.